What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock, and we're back with some more Propagandhi. And we're actually going to listen to a request. Jimmy requested this maybe like a week ago. I do apologize it's taking me so long to get to it. But you know, I've been trying to balance all the different reactions and get my DJ mixes up on the site. So, bottom line, I've been quite busy. But nevertheless, I did want to get to this one because he requested Adventures in Zoochosis. And this one is, I think, not only very profound lyrically, but I love the music. The opening section has this sort of like, almost like ambient quality, actually. So yeah, I really do enjoy this. As far as I could tell, it's sort of using the concept of zoochosis, which is when animals that have been in captivity, this happens a lot in zoos, they start displaying repetitive, sort of increasingly kind of like mind-numbing behaviors, just like, shaking back and forth and basically doing things that indicate that their normal cognitive, psycho-emotional experience that they might have in a more natural, like wild setting, has been stunted and distorted, and they've begun to alter their behavior as a result of that, transportation to this non-natural environment. So Chris, I think, is making the point that humans who want progressive change, who would like to see reforms and perhaps a restructuring of society on more equitable grounds and ultimately a greater attention to pluralism and inclusion and so on, people who like to see radical changes in society, again, toward a more equitable nature, it's tough, right? Like, you spend your life like beholden to systems of power and exploitation, marginalization and oppression. And I guess, over time, it really does begin to feel like you can't get away from it. You begin to feel like you're locked into these systems, and no matter how hard you try, those very systems themselves have mechanisms in place to prevent reform, to prevent radical change, or to prevent an extension of the franchise to all corners of demographics and all parts of the world. So, the narrator of the song is talking to a younger generation of animals in these cages of, systemic, institutional oppression, bigotry, and so on. And he's basically saying, look, they keep telling us they're going to give us bigger cages, we might get longer chains, they might make some of our lives here better. But the reality is, kids, like, this is what I've lived my whole life, and even though my brain would still love to get away from this, even though I would like to be part of a radical social upheaval that leads to a more equitable society, I'm just, I've been doing this so long, I think I'm sort of stuck here. I think I have to sort of stay here because I am as much a carrier of this dynamic as I am a resistor of it. So at the end of the day, look, the next time the keepers come in, I'm gonna bite them, I'm gonna hold them down, you take the other young people, you run the straight fuck out of here, like out of Hades, don't look back. I may not make it, I might have to sacrifice to make that happen, but at the end of the day, if it means that some genuine social change for the better can happen in the future, well then I'm willing to do that. So again, it's like this allegory of captive creatures in zoos, basically trying to resist the systems that have ground down their minds and behavior to the point where they're almost, sort of happy to get longer chains and slightly bigger living spaces with slightly better ventilation and so on. But somewhere deep in the recesses of their mind, that free, independent, spirit desiring to change the world for the better and to make it a better place, it's still alive. And if it means that I have to bite the bullet to make that happen for younger people, I'm going to do that. So that's where I take the song. I do think the sort of metaphor is pretty straightforward, but there might be connotations that I'm sort of omitting or neglecting to mention. So please do let me know if you have a more detailed interpretation. Nevertheless, shout out to Jimi for requesting this one. So here we go. This is Propagandhi from their album Victory Lap 2017. I should mention, I do love this picture on the back. It looked like such a funny group of people to hang out with, and shout out to Todd for gurning as hard as anyone I've ever seen on a Propagandhi or on a punk rock album. Also, shout out to the disc. I mentioned it before. I really do love the art of this, like, hey, it's this fun little place, but wait a minute, it's engulfed in, you know, the catastrophes that we're inviting as human beings. And then one last time, let's give a shout out to the band, including Sue Lynn. I'm going to just say her name correctly in a few videos. But yeah, here we go. Adventures in Zoochosis by Propagandhi on their album Victory Lap on Epitaph Records, 2017. It does feel very slice of life, right? You know, I heard the Keepers might even put a TV in our chambers next year. It's amazing guitar work.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You have to do anything.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice.
I love taking the time with this long melodic intro. It's just fantastic.
Hold up for consensus. Give the masses the benefit of the doubt. Is this a democratic process? Will this population out? I think we're only fearing death. Is that it may not be the end. We may be eternal beings.
I think we're all right,
Do
Chris.
all of this again. Please don't let no such thing be true. I suspect if I sink back to my enclosure, something more than I really did.
In the short term, though.
Sufficiently plumbed and ventilated. Well, let's just say I would not shake a stick. I'm depressed, I'll admit. I'm excited about the original programs. If I let it to extend, I can't be lost spells. I'm excited to see what our keepers have planned.
We're going to revisit that stanza near the end. See if his opinion is more genuine by that point.
Perhaps a bigger cage, longer chains, some compelling novel reasons to remain. Then are we gonna die? Yes, sir, both you and I. Maybe not today. Boys, I bowed to the keeper's whip for so damn long. I think the sad truth is, this enclosure is where your old man belongs. But your hearts are pure when the operant conditioners come to break you in. I sink my squandered teeth. You grab your little brother's hand, run like the wind. And if I'm not there, don't look back, just go. I don't give a fuck about the original programs. If I let it to extend, I can't give last spells. Motherfucker, gonna get a load of what I got planned.
Even if it's not me manifesting it. It's genius. Dare I say it is a beautiful punk rock song. Yeah, it's a really great metaphor. It's a really profound sort of song. Made me emotional in the second half when he's, talking to the younger generation. And I'm 41, so I feel like, when it comes to my ability to impact society and so on, I try to be as active in a civic sense as I can, within reason, but sometimes I do feel that, like, man, like, I try to find right pathways and I try to, influence things for the better and so on, but it is easy to sometimes fall into that, like, man, like, I just have to try to get through these awful systems and try to make it through my own life and whatever. So that those lines about, like, what, young folks, your old man, he might be stuck here. This might be a place that, he just can't get out of because he's been part of it and in one way or another helped perpetuate it for so long. So yeah, those lines sort of made me emotional. But yeah, I really do love the lyrics. It's just another testament to their ability to craft interesting ideas, and over their albums I've mentioned it, earlier on I think their lyrics were a little more traditional, not in terms of the content but in terms of the way they would read on the page. Over time I think their lyrics have gotten more complex, and I think Jimi was the one who mentioned it. There are like times where, and Ryan was talking about it too, the way they don't follow the simple like verse chorus structure, and Jimi was saying there are times where like there'll be a thought that is articulated in a line, and then there'll be like an instrumental interlude, and then the next like verse will pick up the rest of that same line as if there was no interruption. So I really enjoy their song composition. They're really talented musicians and creative creators of art. So yeah, shout out to Propagandhi. Always going to be my favorite band. I mentioned in a million videos already, but they were the first punk band I discovered, and as a young boy looking to find more like underground music, I feel like I couldn't have stumbled across a better band. So shout out to that goalie from Montreal who I met at a ice hockey live-in camp at the University of British Columbia, the Thunderbirds, and yeah, he brought a tape of how to clean everything. Literally changed my life. So here we are, like, what, 29 years later, because I was 93. So yeah, 29 years later, and I'm still here talking about Propagandhi. So shout out to them. Shout out to all the people who've been watching these punk rock reactions, especially Propagandhi fans. Shout out to Jimi and Ryan. They've requested a few Propagandhi tracks. I just love that I'm talking about these bands and some people are here for it and offering their opinions and shouting out certain songs or whatever. It just really makes me happy. It's so rewarding. Thank you for listening and watching. I really do appreciate it. Have a good day, have a good night, and I will see you next time. Peace.